Welcome. Before operating the NeuroCatch platform, it is important that you thoroughly read the user guide to familiarize yourself with setup and use to ensure successful and accurate data acquisition. The videos are meant as a supplement to the user guide. Allow a minimum of 15 minutes to set up the room, assemble, and prepare system components. To set up the room, include 2 chairs, one for the client and the other for the operator. The client chair should be as comfortable as possible, and the operator chair should be placed at the table behind the client. On the wall in front of the client's chair, tape the fixation tool at eye level approximately 2 meters away. Remove any moving objects or pictures within the client's line of sight. Close any blinds in the room and turn on the lights. While the device is in use, there should be no distractions to the client during the scan in order to generate the highest data quality. Identify and unpack the following components onto the table. 1. The laptop and power supply. The laptop contains the data acquisition software and the data processing software. The data acquisition software records the brain waves, and the data processing software analyzes the brain waves to generate the NeuroCatch reports. 2. Earbud-style headphones with removable earbud tips. 3. A receiving base station with 2 connecting cables, including 1 USB cable and 1 trigger cable. 4. A headset, comprised of both mesh cap and electrodes attached to a transmitter. 5. A fixation tool. 6. Flexible measuring tape. We recommend that 2 clean towels are used for each client. Place one of the clean towels on the table. On that towel, place the single-use items and headset. The following items are required for each client. 1. 2 earbud tips and 2 pre-gelled adhesive electrodes. 2. 1 12 milliliter syringe and a container of electrode gel. 3. 1 cotton-tipped applicator. 4. 1 pair of nitrile gloves. And 5. 2 alcohol swabs. To fill the syringe, remove the plunger, insert gel, and return the plunger. Fill the 12 milliliter syringe halfway with electrode gel. Connect the laptop to its power supply. Connect the receiving base station to the laptop with a USB cable and trigger cable. Plug in the headphones. If you have more than one NeuroCatch platform, take note of the headset transmitter serial number and confirm that the receiving base station serial number matches the headset transmitter serial number. Turn on the EEG headset by pressing the power button on the transmitter. After a few seconds, the blue LED light will start to blink steadily to indicate a successful connection with the receiving base station. If the light is not blue, the headset must be charged. When the client arrives, make sure their hair is clean, dry, and free of any items such as hair clips or bobby pins. Ask the client to use the restroom if necessary. Remove any in-earlobe earrings. Ask them to turn off any cellular devices. When ready, seat the client in the comfortable chair and encourage the client to immediately inform you of any discomfort experienced during the setup or the scan. Explain to the client the procedure for the setup, the scan, and what they should expect. Put on a pair of nitrile gloves. Measure the circumference of the client's head with the flexible measuring tape. Starting at the glabella, the space in the middle of the forehead, right above the eyebrows. Bring the measuring tape around to the inion, the bump at the back of the head, and back around to the glabella. Ensure the measuring tape is snug. Select the appropriate cap size based on the measurements. If it is necessary to use a different cap size, transfer the electrodes into the appropriately sized cap. Gently remove the electrodes from the current cap and reinsert them into the new cap. To remove an electrode from the cap, stretch the mesh carefully around it and tilt the electrode for removal. To insert an electrode into the cap, push the electrodes through the appropriate hole demarked by the corresponding lettering between the wiring and the cap. Gently pull the electrode back through the hole, ensuring the mesh slides into the slot around the electrode. Refer to the user guide to make sure the electrodes are inserted in the correct holes in the cap. Handle the wiring harness of the headset with extreme care. Prepare the client's skin by using an alcohol swab to clean the following locations: 1. Above the center of left eyebrow. 2. Beside the left eye, by the temple. And 3. The right earlobe. 2 adhesive electrodes will be placed on the cleaned face sites. 1. Outside of the left eye by the temple. This is the horizontal eye electrode. And 2. Above the center of the left eyebrow. This is the vertical eye electrode. Place the headset on the client's head. For the best placement of the cap, measure the distance between the top of the left and right ear over the top of the client's head. Note the halfway point of this measurement. This is the vertex position. Align the CZ electrode to the vertex. CZ is the second red electrode. Secure the chin strap on the chin so that the cap is tightly secured but not uncomfortable. Connect the loose electrode cables to the following locations by clipping them onto the adhesive electrode buttons: the OZ cable to the horizontal eye electrode, the PO7 cable to the vertical eye electrode. Apply gel into the 4 electrodes along the center of the cap. Insert the tip of the filled syringe through the holes in the electrodes in the headset. It is important that the syringe tip reaches below the hair and that the gel is applied directly to the scalp. Sweep the hair out of the way with the syringe tip to ease this process. Once the hair is swept out of the way, hold down the electrode and apply electrode gel until you see a small amount coming out of the hole. It is essential that gel completely fills the gap between the skin and the electrode surface. Using the syringe, apply a small amount of gel to the ear clip electrode and attach the ear clip to the right earlobe with a metal electrode plate touching the front of the ear. Inform the client that the physical setup is complete. Power up the laptop if it is currently shut down. Make sure all other programs are closed prior to opening the data acquisition software. Open the NeuroCatch platform data acquisition software by double-clicking on the NeuroCatch shortcut icon. The NeuroCatch platform data acquisition software initialization screen will appear. Press the Get Started button to begin the software setup. Enter contextual information relevant to the location of the scan. This is only required once for each client. Press the Continue icon. Enter scan details and press the Continue button when complete. The client ID must be identical across all scans for the same client. Otherwise, the scan history data will not be valid. To confirm a client's ID, open the data processing software and search for the client's previous ID before entering it into the data acquisition software. The software will confirm that all the NeuroCatch platform hardware components are properly connected. Once all connections are confirmed, the software will automatically progress to the next step. This step should take no longer than 60 seconds. If there is an issue at this stage, please refer to the user guide or the troubleshooting support. Ensure that the headphones are plugged into the laptop. Confirm scalp impedances are within the green range as shown on the impedance verification screen. Instruct the client to sit still, relax, and looking at the fixation tool. The Continue button will become active when impedance ranges are acceptable. Press Continue to proceed. If scalp impedances are in the yellow or red range, use the syringe to move hair out of the way and apply more electrode gel into each electrode site at FZ, CZ, PZ, and the ground electrode, ensuring to completely fill the electrode. Use the back of a cotton-tipped applicator to lightly scrape the skin surface below the electrode before adding more electrode gel. Be sure to use light pressure to avoid breaking the skin. Allow 5 seconds for impedance values to update. Repeat these steps until the impedances are within the green range. Inform the client that software setup is complete and that the scan will begin shortly. Let them know that the scan will take 6 minutes. Make sure the client is sitting comfortably, looking at the fixation tool, and ready to proceed. Give the client the headphones with a clean pair of earbud tips and ask them to place them snugly in their ears. Confirm that the laptop volume is set to 100%. Select a stimulus sequence. Please consult the user guide for additional information on stimulus sequence selection. When ready, press the play button. An automated recording will instruct the client to minimize movement during the scan and focus on the fixation tool. The scan will start after the instructions finish and will take approximately 6 minutes to complete. Ensure the client is sitting still and attentive during the scan. Once the scan starts, a stop button will appear, which can be pressed to stop the scan at any time. Data will not be saved if the scan is stopped early. Monitor the client throughout the scan to ensure that they remain facing the fixation tool and that no significant distractions occur. If you are collecting a second scan with the same client, select Proceed with test number 2. If you are going to scan a new client, select New Client. Let the client know once the scan has finished. After completing a scan, close the data acquisition software and launch the data processing software by double-clicking on the desktop icon NeuroCatch DPS.exe. In the Unprocessed Scans list, select which scan you would like to process and press the Process Scans button. Do not click more than once. Wait for processing to complete. This process typically takes less than 2 minutes. The scan will now appear in the Available Reports window. Select the new scan and click the Display Report button to launch the report generation process. The data processing software automatically analyzes the data and outputs the ERP graphs. When report generation is finished, results will be displayed and a PDF copy of the report will be saved to a folder on the desktop called NeuroCatch Reports. Open the report to ensure the information contained in the report is complete. Once you have verified that the report has been properly generated, collect the headphones from the client and set aside the earbud tips for cleaning. Turn off the headset by pressing the power button on the headset transmitter for at least 3 seconds. The status LED will be steadily on while the button is pressed and will turn off when the system shuts down. Unclip the leads from the facial electrodes and remove the earlobe clip. Remove the cap from the client by gently peeling it off their head. Gently remove and dispose of the adhesive electrodes, or ask if the client would prefer to remove the electrodes themselves. Provide an alcohol swab if there is still adhesive residue on the client's skin. Offer the client a clean towel for their hair. Dispose of consumable items that have come in contact with the client. At the end of each day, disconnect the USB cable and trigger cable from the receiving base station. Shut down the laptop and close it for storage. Inspect the NeuroCatch platform for damage prior to placing it in storage. Be sure to store the NeuroCatch platform in its case to avoid damage. Ensure that electrodes, cables, and mesh caps are completely dry before returning them to the case for storage. Do not buckle or wedge in the wires when the case is closed. Do not bend the cables when packing and unpacking the platform into the case.